So I recently saw a short on YouTube titled Master Chief vs. Helldivers, and I shared it with my Discord server. By the way, you should join the Discord server, which sparked at least one debate with my mod about whether or not Master Chief or Helldivers would win in a fight. So not only did I look through the comments of that first short discussing the topic, but I tried looking for a video that goes over this in a bit more of a formal sense. Because first of all, the short wasn't really taking the fight very serious. It was more of kind of like a joke, and there were some stupid arguments like Master Chief saying,
"They're just budget ODSTs with flashy lights that predict where they're about to fire. They beam, I move. Simple."
At first I thought he meant the flashlights on the guns that can be turned off or taken off, but no, I think he meant the orbital call-ins that only Helldiver HUDs can see. Anyways, the only video I could find that formally compares Helldivers and Spartans is a video titled Helldivers vs. Spartans, Who Would Win? Wow. I know, pretty crazy, right? That video was by a guy I actually watch. His name is Nate, and I like his content. However, as all the comments point out, he gets quite a bit wrong in his comparison, so here's the part where I actually start the video. It's time we analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to see who would win a death battle. Let's start with the Master Chief. First, let's talk about his upbringing a bit. Master Chief was one of many kids who were kidnapped at about age 7 and replaced by a clone to not raise suspicion with the parents. If you're wondering, why don't they just use the clones instead of kidnapping the kids? Also, how did they even make the clones? Well, the clones would terminate within like a couple years or something, so they were kind of useless. And second of all, I actually have no idea how they made the clones, to be honest. I don't know. All that doesn't really matter, long story short. All you really need to know is that he was raised as a child soldier and endured genetic augmentations and implants, all to increase his strength, speed, reflexes, and senses. Moving on to his armor, Chief gets a couple different models of armor, but his most recent armor in Halo Infinite is the Mark 6 Gen 3 Mjolnir powered assault armor. As far as I'm aware, it's basically the same as the armor he got way back in Halo 2, except now you have a grapple, and for some reason he can run now. Obviously, I'm joking a little bit, because canonically he's always been able to run, but you know, not game-wise, of course. I would like to compare Lore Chief and Game Chief to the Helldivers when we're doing our death battle comparison at the end. His armor is made of some futuristic titanium alloy and has a rechargeable energy shield. His armor can house an AI like Cortana, ripped to Cortana by the way, since she gets taken behind the shed off screen. Like come on, 343, literally what are you doing with the story? Halo 5 should never have happened, guys, okay, I'm telling you. But the AI can supposedly help run his suit better and hack into doors or whatever they need to interact with, really. I think the biggest feat lore-wise for Chief's armor is when he fell from space at the start of Halo 3 and walked it off, yet gameplay Chief dies from like a 20-foot drop. Granted, that clip was from Halo 1, but in Halo 3 he also does have fall damage, while Halo Infinite actually has no fall damage, so I guess he's a bit more lore accurate, or maybe it's his new suit of armor, I don't know. Anyway, moving on to weapons. Chief's bread and butter is the MA-40 assault rifle, which fires 7.62 by 51mm rounds, and the MK-50 sidekick with 10 by 31mm rounds. Now, I would prefer to use the Halo 1 Magnum here, but we're going to go off of Halo Infinite since it's the most recent thing. So most of these comparisons with the Helldivers are going to be based off of Halo Infinite Chief. I think Chief would have access to all UNSC weapons and gear when he's fighting the Helldivers. However, considering he only carries 2 weapons, and these are the most common, I think it's fair to assume that he would have these 2 specific weapons. He will also have access to M9 fragmentation grenades, which I think have more or less stayed the same throughout all of the games, to be fair. Alright, moving on to a bit of Helldiver upbringing lore.
Tyler!
Look familiar? Scenes like these are happening all over the galaxy right now. You could be next. That is, unless you make the most important decision of your life. Prove to yourself that you have the strength and the courage to be free. Join Helldivers.
As far as I'm aware, the citizens under Super Earth have a bit of a culture of being well armed, and the government even gives the kids at their 16th birthday a rifle. So technically everyone should definitely have at least one firearm and know how to shoot. But to become a Helldiver, you need to join SEAF, which is the Super Earth Armed Forces. Then the best SEAF soldiers are selected to begin Helldiver training, at which point they are cryogenically frozen till some invading force shows up. That's when the real training begins. Helldivers are said to be the elite soldiers of managed democracy, but there's some debate on if the tutorial at the start of the game is all the training they get outside of being SEAF, or if that's just like the final test. So there's a lot of people who think Helldivers are stupid and untrained meat shields for Super Earth. I would say Helldivers are pretty bad about not blowing themselves up, but in their defense, it tends to be a tactical self-detonation that takes out lots of enemies with them. I think the strongest argument for Helldivers actually being elite soldiers is the fact they can expertly wield any weapon, even right out of training, which is interesting because you can't even access most weapons at the start of the game. They also have massive KD ratios. We're talking about like a 100-to-1 ratio here, and it's not just all little guys they're taking out several massive elite enemies too. That 100-to-1 ratio might not be the average Helldiver, but it's not even questionable to achieve for someone like me who isn't the best player, and I'm not even like level 150 yet. A few other reasons Helldivers are in fact the elites is we never see anyone above us. Even on the Battle of Super Earth, you'd think if there was some secret elite force, we would have seen them on Super Earth when it was being invaded. Each Helldiver also takes command of an entire super destroyer, can pilot mechs and cars, and can interfere with all kinds of military sites like nuclear missiles. Long story short, they're pretty well trained, especially if you look at SEAF soldiers in combat, because those guys look like bigger idiots than we do. Oh, and they only have a few weapons, meaning they likely don't have training in everything Helldivers do. Anyway, onto the armor. The description of the normal Helldiver armor says it's made from, quote, the same titanium alloy as the destroyer's hull, meaning the armor of the Master Chief and a basic Helldiver are actually pretty similar. I wouldn't say that the alloy of the Helldiver is better than whatever Master Chief's alloy is, but I think they're comparable, and that's just the very basic starter Helldiver armor. I won't cover every armor and weapon because it's so many, but to keep it brief, Helldivers have light, medium, and heavy armor, with all kinds of effects on each set of armor, with the weight classes just having more or less armor plating. Some armor makes you resist fire, or gas, or explosions, and some armor just kinda gives you more space for grenades and stims, while also boosting the stem length or throwing range of your grenades and stuff. Moving on to their weapons, again, there's way too many even just primary weapons to cover in detail, but there is a large assortment of kinetic weapons, plasma weapons, laser weapons, explosives, fire weapons, shock weapons, gas weapons, and all kinds of other stuff, okay? There's a lot of weapons. And what do you think the odds are that just one of those can hurt Chief? Because I bet you it's extremely high. Helldivers bring one primary weapon, one secondary, and one type of grenade, as well as stims to instantly heal any wound, by the way. Broken leg? Use a stim. Bleeding out? Pop a stim. Burning alive? Just use a stim and maybe also dive onto the ground, since that removes your status effects to any Helldivers who didn't learn that in basic training. Anyway, stims are just super good, and there's nothing quite as good that exists in Halo. But now let's talk about the biggest perk of being a Helldiver, the great equalizer against any foe, even if the foe was Master Chief himself. We need to talk about the stratagems, which all Helldivers get right off the bat. Now, like the weapons, you don't get access to every single stratagem right away, but even the starting stuff is really good. Stratagems come in the form of support weapons, such as a laser cannon or a flamethrower, which means Helldivers can technically carry 3 weapons. Other stratagems go on your back as either like a drone that shoots enemies around you, or a jetpack, or a bubble shield. There are also lots of mines and turrets you can call down, some vehicles like mechs and a car. Last but not least, there are things that make big booms, or big fires, or make things very stinky, or stun large areas, or create smoke clouds for cover. I would love to cover all these in more detail, but Super Earth spoils us with so many beautiful weapons of war to use. There is a catch though, you can only bring 4 stratagems per Helldiver. And something people forget to mention is each Helldiver can also bring a modifier that buffs the whole squad. For example, you could bring more ammo, or make your hell pod like explode when it lands, or have more stamina, or even just be tougher. And there's a whole lot of other stuff too that's kind of useless, to be honest. Like, people usually only bring like the top 5 of those modifiers, to be fair. Arrowhead, you should fix a lot of those modifiers. They need to be buffed pronto. There are absolutely some kind of temporary genetic enhancements for some of these, and I personally am not sure if Helldivers have like any long-term genetic enhancements or implants like the Chief, but we can be sure they have temporary boosts that last as long as the mission is active, so let's say like an hour or something. For the sake of comparing stats of weapons Helldivers have and what Chief might have, let's go over the basic level 1 Helldiver weapons. First up, the primary weapon is the AR-23 Liberator. I believe it's got 5.5 by 50 millimeter full metal jacket rounds with only light armor pen. Next is the secondary P2 Peacemaker, and the P is very fitting for this weapon because it feels like a pea shooter compared to every other secondary weapon. It fires a 9 by 20 millimeter hollow point shot and is also a light penetration weapon. The grenade is the G6 frag, which has shrapnel that shoots out in every direction, whereas the M9 fragmentation grenade that Chief would have, I guess, is kind of more so just an explosion. Lastly, new Helldivers have the MG43 machine gun with medium armor pen and 8 by 60 millimeter full metal jacket rounds. And of course, who could forget the Precision Strike, which shoots down from the destroyer up in orbit, and apparently is a 406 millimeter shot. But all I need to know is that it makes the enemies of democracy disappear. Okay, we can finally start the fighting part now. I think even after researching all of this, my stance is relatively unchanged for the most part, I think. Here are the rules though. We will compare Gameplay Chief and Lore Chief with basic Helldivers and maxed out Helldivers. Also, Chief shouldn't have access to every Halo item in every Halo game ever. He gets his basic gear, but even if he did have access to every UNSC weapon, it wouldn't alter the results too much, I think, especially since he can only like carry 2 things at a time. The area they are fighting in is just an open area with a few rocks for cover. Lastly, for the sake of not making this a comparison on vehicles, the Helldivers aren't going to get their mechs or the car, and Chief doesn't get, you know, his tank and his Warthog and everything else. First off, let's compare Gameplay Chief to Gameplay Helldivers, who are technically also the lore accurate Helldivers, I guess. Gameplay wise, Chief should have no issues at all with just one Helldiver. I'd rank this match a 9 out of 10 in favor of Chief, with the only real chance the Helldiver has is if he can land that Precision Strike, or maybe if he gets like a lucky grenade or something, I don't know. But if you introduce a full squad of Helldivers, all with just basic gear, I honestly think it's a lot closer to a 50-50 fight here. I want to say the Helldivers win because all of them shooting machine guns and throwing precision strikes would not be easy to deal with. I think Chief would have to play around cover to pick off the Helldivers, but the thing is the Helldivers can just blow up his cover with the precision strikes, or just toss a bunch of grenades to flush him out to make him move into the open. The Helldivers will also have more ammunition, more weapons, and they'll have their stims, which makes getting wounded a liability. Chief's shield is really nice, but if he's in allowed time to regenerate, then it's all over for him for sure. I think I feel comfortable giving the Helldivers a 6-10 advantage in this case. If this were maxed out Helldivers versus Gameplay Chief, I could easily see this being a 9-10 in favor of the Helldivers. Lastly, I want to compare the Lore Chief, you know, like the real Master Chief, with a squad of maxed out Helldivers who, by the way, up to this point, haven't even had access to their 20 reinforcements. But even with the reinforcements, I think killing Lord Chief is going to be very hard. Remember, this is the guy who fell from orbit and not long after got up and started mowing down the invading alien forces. I'm not certain how much force it would take to kill Chief, but I think the Precision Strike would probably still kill him. But if not, I mean, it'd probably be better just to bring the 500 kg bomb anyway, which is like just a a bigger boom version of the precision strike. Gas weapons would be useless because his suit can handle being in space, so it has to be filtered and airtight. Fire does technically hurt him, I guess, but his suit is super heat resistant, so it'd basically be as useless as the gas. Halo Infinite introduced a shock weapon, so I want to say electric weapons could probably still hurt him. Plasma definitely can still hurt him, and we're just going to assume that the plasma in Halo is the same plasma that the Helldivers are using, just to simplify this a little bit here. I think honestly the biggest pain for Chief would be the orbital rail cannon stratagem. The reason for that is people in the comments of the original short I watched, people were saying Lord Chief is so fast and has such good reflexes that he could just dodge, I guess, or run super fast away from the stratagems. People also said he could just toss them back at the Helldivers, which might work. However, I know for a fact that the stratagem balls stick to whatever they land on, as they have landed on me and my enemies multiple times, and they cannot come off. Anyway, if you don't know, the orbital rail cannon is one of 2 stratagems that can completely lock onto a target. And I don't care how fast Chief is, okay? He's not gonna dodge a rail cannon blast, okay? I also think it would only take 1 rail cannon shot to take him out, personally, but at the very least, it would leave him in a very vulnerable state. If we don't let the Helldivers have reinforcements, I think this battle goes to Chief 7 out of 10 times, personally. But the 20 plus lives the Helldivers can have, each time they call in a new guy, that guy has a chance to just land right on top of Chief, which I would imagine would hurt him a lot. It'd be pretty funny though, actually, if like a Hell pod landed on Master Chief though, and then like instead of crushing Master Chief, he just like broke through the Hell pod and like crushed the Helldiver inside the pod instead. But long story short, even in a fight with just the original 4 Helldivers, a long drawn out battle would be a bad decision for Chief, since they have quite literally infinite ammo from space, and eventually he'd be like running out of cover and stuff. However, that situation grows even more dire when factoring in all those additional lives that he has to burn through, which would further exacerbate his issue. There's also a modifier that one Helldiver can bring to give the team 5 more lives, so it'd be 25 plus lives. Personally, I don't think they even need that many lives to beat Chief. I might be downplaying Lore Chief here by saying this, but I think the maxed Helldivers take the W in this scenario with about a 7-10 ratio, based on my very mathematical vibe check. I'd even go as far to say it could be as low as a 2 out of 10 chance for Chief to win, but I think that would be more like if Chief was against the absolute best maxed out Helldivers, and even then they'd still have a hard time wearing Chief down. But that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. If you think I'm super wrong, then please explain in the comments, and don't just be like, wow, how could you be so dumb to not say Chief wins 10 out of 10 times no matter what? How stupid can you be? Wow. I have literally hundreds of hours in both game series, so it's not like I'm a noob at either of these things. I want both of them to do well in this scenario, and I'd say I have a pretty educated opinion that cannot be proven or disproven technically. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.